like being more optimistic and doing more stuff in your career. Like, don't just stay in the studio all day, because you making beats and stuff like that. You need to get out there and network, see the world, travel to these beat shows, like the iStandard stuff. Get out there and see what other people are doing so you can be inspired.
1, 2, yeah. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, sir, you are tuned in. This is for the SB1200, ASR 10s and MPC heroes. This is for the crate digging, loop getting, sound manipulators, the Fruity Loop reasoning machine innovators that pump the bass and frequently freak the kick in a stand till it slaps in your speakers. The sound providers that make sure the song is tight. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live.
Welcome to the Beats Grinding Life podcast with your host, Siren, a weekly interview podcast with inspiring music producers, where every week you will learn from a different music producer how to potentially take your music career to the next level.
What's up, Beat Grinders? This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I'm your host, Siren Beats, and with us today we got Cornelio Austin. Cornelio is an American producer, songwriter, and singer based out of Los Angeles, California. The Grammy-nominated producer is a graduate of Full Sail University and has become one of the top R&B producers in the industry. He has produced for artists such as BJ the Chicago Kid, Chris Brown, Lela James, Busta Rhymes, Casey and JoJo, Jesse Powell, Goapele, Derek Minor, and many more. Yo, what's up, Cornelio? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up? It's very good out here in California.
Oh man, I wish I was down there, man. Even though I'm not hating on Portland, Oregon, I love my city, man. But there's nothing like Los Angeles.
Yes, sir. Yeah, BJ was just up there performing.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was for a Red Bull event.
Okay, yeah, that did just come by. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think Nas performed as well. So, man, I wish I would have caught him. I didn't even know that he was with at the Red Bull event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice. That's what's up, man. Well, I got to introduce you to the Beat Grinders a little bit, man. But why don't you let them know a little more about yourself, man?
Well, yeah, the intro's true. I work with those artists and also work with, a lot of up-and-coming artists, developing talent, and people who are not necessarily famous, which in this climate of the music industry, you can go from nobody to famous, just through some digital portals. So be on the lookout for a few acts that I'm working on.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, once you mention your name, I'm sure they'll definitely be on our radar from there, and we'll keep an eye out. So.
Sure.
Okay, man. All right, man. Well, once again, thank you for coming on the show, man. You're definitely doing your thing. Like you said, you've been doing some things with some big acts and some acts not so big as of yet, man. But here we want to know, man, before you were as big as you are, man, how did you get started in this thing? What made you want to do music production?
Let's just say that it was kind of hereditary almost. Not necessarily from the beginning noting that this would be the path I would take. But I started singing, at like the age of 8, I believe. My father said, "Hey man, you got a good little voice, keep singing or whatever." And then you like, "Oh, I do? Oh, okay." So from there, he was a musician. So, that was kind of what the key was in my career. Like he being a musician, he could play his main instrument was organ, piano, bass, saxophone, and all the instruments we had in the house, and I just tinkered with them. But saxophone was my first instrument, technically the first. Singing is an instrument. Vocals is you can say that's an instrument too.
No doubt.
But I started doing that in junior high school, playing the saxophone, and then I transitioned more to piano in high school. And a funny story, and I say funny for now, but it is sentimental value. But my father, when he passed away, I was 14, and we used to play at this little church. Well, he used to play at a little church, and by that time I was kind of tinkering around with a couple chords, and so when he passed away, they just kind of threw me on there, just said, "Hey, look, you can tinker, so go ahead and try to play."
Right.
So it developed me. I was only 14 or 15 at that time, and I was learning how to play on the spot. So that's where it's like on the job training.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah. No better way to learn, man, than just to get thrown in there.
Yeah. So from there, I was really developing my own style, and my first job literally was playing for a church, playing the piano organ.
Dope.
And so I eventually went to this other church where I met my surrogate family, who my uncle, who was a big producer back in the day. You guys can look him up, Greg Perry. He has some big songs like him and my aunt, they're married, and she used to be in a group called the Honeycomb. Like real producers that they definitely sample some Honeycomb stuff for sure.
Okay.
So they taught me how to be, like a really good musician, because, working with like top caliber talent, like excellent singers and excellent professionals, you can learn fast and be groomed up fast. So
right.
He invited me over to play some piano stuff on his tracks. And at that time, he was just using like a keyboard and an MPC when outboard gear was real popular. So that was kind of like my training ground, just on an MPC and a keyboard,
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, I take a couple things away from that. One is that I consider you extremely lucky, man. I mean, you grew up with instruments in your house. You grew up with musicians all around you, so you had that tutelage from a young age. There was, like you said, it was almost predestined for you to become a musician. Not all of us are lucky enough to have that around us, and we need to go seek mentors, but you already had them in front of you, so you were blessed to have that, man. That's great.
Oh yeah, for sure. I count it a blessing every time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And then the other thing, which I mentioned before, was your first job was music. In the church, you got thrown into it and you had to learn quick, man. And there's no better way to learn than, like you said, on the job training. So
for sure.
That's dope, man. Well, lucky you, man. We're all trying to get to your level. And I guess if there is a lesson to be taken away from that, maybe it is throw ourselves in an uncomfortable position where we just need to learn on the fly. So
exactly. Yeah, it's a real deal. Jump out here, and if it's something that you really love or want to do, then you put yourself on the line and just really go for it.
Right. Dope, man. Dope. Okay. All right, man. Well, what we know that you start off with the saxophone and singing, and you also played the piano as well. But what was the first piece of equipment that you started making music with, that you started composing music with, instrument or gear?
Yeah, I had my uncle, the producer, has sold me my first MPC 60.
Nice. Classic.
At the time, that was the machine to have. It was hardcore. Little rolling keyboard that I really loved, and at the time I can't even remember the name of the keyboard. I still have it though. I just painted over it. I made it into art.
Dope. Okay.
Put away, like I can't. The name is not on it no more for sure.
Okay.
But it's solid, and it is like a little 62 key, and we were rocking and rolling on that. I did a couple records off that.
Dope.
Yeah, I can't remember which ones, but I know I did a couple placements off that little tiny setup for sure.
That's awesome, man. Well, I gotta ask you, man. Are you a painter? Are you a visual artist as well?
Oh no.
Okay.
I can if that was what I wanted to do.
Right, of course.
My oldest daughter is a painter. She does that. She's 16 and she's pretty good, fashion designer and all this stuff.
Wow.
So I just did it to, engage with her and have some fun.
Nice. Okay. Well, the arts runs in the family, man. Visual or musically. So.
Of course.
Dope, man. Okay. All right, man. Well, I want to know, when you first started out on that rolling in that MPC 60, who inspired you to make music? What producers made you want to do this? I mean, besides your uncle, I'm sure he was one of them.
Of course. Yeah, no, after I got into it, there were, then the study period comes of who you like,
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, this was like, let me see, late 90s into the 2000s, the time that during that season, it was like Teddy Riley.
Dope.
It was Rodney Jerkins,
Mm-hmm.
Devontae, Jodeci, he was killing. Devontae, Teddy.
Okay, man. Well, man, yeah, Teddy Riley, inspiration to a lot of producers, man. Our last guest on here, Daryl Digga Branch, he said that was his main inspiration was Teddy Riley, and talked about how he had his own movement with the New Jack era and all. So,
Exactly.
And then Dark Child, man, Rodney Jerkins. I mean, you can't say enough about him and what he's done, and how many artists he's produced, and the way that he shifted the game as well, man.
Well, yeah, he pretty much ran the game for like 10 years straight.
No doubt.
Those were like my early on inspirations, of course, and then like nowadays, as I grew, as I became a more seasoned producer, like Babyface was kind of like a standard for me. A guy named Tom Bell, which a lot of guys won't necessarily know who he is, but you could Google him. Like, he produced all the big hits for the Stylistics, musicality and stuff that's really good. And then as of late, of course, probably like the last 5 years has been like the hip hop producers, of course. Jay Dilla, everybody's gonna mention that.
Oh yeah.
He's the master of sampling. Jay Dilla, Swiss, Tim, all of those guys are just incredible. And then the shift in their careers, that's a very important part we should note. You're not gonna do this forever, so it's like you might as well make a legendary stamp.
Nice.
While you're riding your waves,
Awesome, man. Awesome. Wow. That's dope, man. Beat Grinders, I hope you guys noted all of those producers, because they've all created their own waves, and I'm definitely gonna start listening to a lot of their music, even though I already do and already have. But those are great producers just to go back and study, especially Tom Bell for me, because I've heard the Stylistics music, in the background or whatever, but I never put it in the forefront and studied it. So maybe I need to do that.
Yeah, that stuff can be, if you're a sampler, that stuff is like premier chop and screw stuff. Like, it's real musical and crazy. You don't have to really search hard for melody to sample it,
Okay.
Really killer stuff.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, thank you for those names, man. And now we can get more of a sense of your music just by seeing who you're inspired by. So.
Exactly. Thanks.
Okay, man. All right, man. Well, we know here on Beats Grinding Life, we're here to hail you and praise you because of the producer that you have become and the awesome guy that you are. But, we're not just going to talk about the good times with you, man. We got to hit and touch upon the bad times. That's the way that we are able to grow, is by our setbacks sometimes.
Sure.
So I want to know, man, if you can share a major setback or failure with us so that maybe we can learn from your experience.
Yeah. I mean, it's what basically I look at setbacks differently, kind of like in the mind of there are really no setbacks. Everything is like a setup. But there are a few regrets that I would just kind of put out there on the table for all the guys listening. Is like being more optimistic and doing more stuff in your career. Like, don't just stay in the studio all day. Because you making beats and stuff like that. You need to get out there and network, see the world, travel to these beat shows, like the iStander stuff. Get there and see what other people are doing so you can be inspired. But me being a musician, like one of my mentors early on told me, hey, get out there and go on tour and play, travel the world, do that. Because, you get to see how people react to music, from live performance point of view. And if you understand, like, a lot of these guys who are great producers, they went and played on the road with somebody just to kind of get the vibe of how music reacts or how fans react to music. And that's one of the things I kind of regret that I didn't do. I did play, I did travel. It was just spot dates here and there, I just didn't want to do it, like in my mind I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I just want to sit at home and be in my world.
Right.
Even with business. So like, you guys probably hear about a lot of bad deals out there. And I think that's one of the things I kind of protected myself from. So it's a good and bad, but it could have been better. So setting up my career for where I say 10 years ago when I was doing this, I could have did this deal or that deal with somebody where I would like sign under a producer or sign a publishing deal that was kind of like premature to what I thought I wanted. Back in the day, you used to get like $300,000 deals like for one song. But that's before the way we consume music changed. Right. But hey, I felt like at one point I should have just did it so that I could build my network and connections and just be in the system a little better. So some of you guys may be out there getting calls to do this, that, and the other, and it's not necessarily the same business as it is before, but be a little more optimistic about opportunities, because even if it's a bad opportunity, you still get the exposure of the situation and you learn from it. So it's like, be more careful to learn, like, instead of just kind of like blocking yourself off or protecting yourself from things that weren't even there in the first place. You never, I can say today, like, I never know what would have happened. Right. So that those are just kind of certain regrets, even though I have a certain place that I'm in right now. Which is cool, and I have major access, but hey, I could have had more. You never know.
Right. That's wow, man. Well, thank you for that. I mean, it seems like you did learn eventually from that. I mean, because you've made big moves with big artists. You're a business partner with BJ, the Chicago Kid, and you're a Grammy nominated producer. So, I mean, you did learn from that, but, I'm glad that you shared that, because that one hit home for me, man. I'm the type of person, I like to just sit in the studio and vibe out all day if I can. And I know that it's a hindrance to my growth. I definitely need to go out there and and network with other people, producers and artists and whoever. And so beat grinders, if you're like me or like how Cornelio used to be, you know, I hope that it's hitting home, and I hope that it's striking a nerve, and you can go out there and meet people like I know I need to, and I'm gonna have to in order to prosper in this business, man. So
for sure, don't sit, you know, like the business nowadays, if you want to work with artists or anything like that, you gotta, you know, do way more than you did back then. Like, you know, being good is just kind of like, okay, that's great. You know, what do you have a full song catalog? You know, if you have full songs with, you know, local artists or just, you know, it doesn't have to be big names, but you need to have a track record of some great music with artists, and then networking, I believe more so is like it's more than making music nowadays. It really is like they say 80% of your business. So you got to get out there and really network, because you know, the game is really about being in people's face. It's like out of sight, out of mind, for sure.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. Really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, we can hop to on the other side of that, man. I want to know, what is the greatest moment that you consider in your career thus far?
Let's see. Taking my wife to the Grammys was definitely a dream come true last year. I always told myself that I wouldn't go unless we were nominated. Wow. And so we did it. You know, we had 3 nominations last year, and
congratulations.
Yeah. We had 3 nominations. One was my song, and then like the other 2 weren't my song, but I participated in the album. Like you said, I'm BJ the Chicago Kid. That's my business partner, and we'll talk about that, how that happened. But I would also be, you know, nominated as, you know, a part of the album as a whole, and as a manager. Like, they give credits for all of that. So,
okay, nice.
You know, it's pretty cool, and it's a very proud moment. Hopefully, we're gonna get there again.
Yeah.
And then I would say the second proud moment is getting my degree in entertainment business. So while I was in school is when me and BJ formed our partnership, before he put out his legendary Pineapple Now Later's album. We did that together, independent. Wow. Everything changed, you know. There was just a huge trajectory, just, you know, got signed the same year. You know, we changed our lives, literally.
Wow.
From independent guys grinding, you know, we did good, you know, on independent. If you sell, like on the first day, we sold like, I think 1,600 copies by ourselves, you know.
Wow.
Just with the help of some blogs. So, you know,
that's
we
awesome.
had some revenue to move forward, you know, to really win as an independent. But we, you know, moved into the new role as partners with Motown. So
nice. Wow, man. Well, those are definitely two great moments, man. I mean, wow. You're definitely doing your thing, man. I hope to have moments like that. The first one, the Grammys. That's, I mean, everybody listen, I'm sure, wants to win a Grammy. So I mean, or be nominated for a Grammy. And the second one's school, man. That's awesome as well, man. You set out a goal to finish, I'm sure, and you did that. And you met some great people along the way that you're still working with. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I want to note that too for the producers out there. Is like, education is kind of what I push right now, because what happened for me, I did an online school, bachelor's of entertainment business. What it does is really open your mind to more than just the creative process, you know, because each one of us has more than one skill set. Like, you're doing this podcast, you have your skill set of being a host and a producer. You have to have multiple streams in this thing. Like, you can't just think that you're going to be a producer and that's it. Everybody's not going to get the Mike Will made it $10 million deal. Like, Hit Boy, you're not going to get the $10 million deal. Unless you're in that circle of, the people who make those plays. So that's going to be one in however many. Like, let's just count how many producers out there. But if you have a degree, you can set yourself apart from a lot of the other guys. Like, what's going to set you apart? Like, we all make beats and stuff. We all make music. This is what we love. You go on internet, you can see 10,000 tutorials on how to do this, that, and the other. Right. But what in the business? Like, the business is looking for executives who are talented. So let's about No ID. He taught Kanye, and look at him. He's an executive. Right. Was running Rock Nation. Now he's doing, I think he's the head of priority over here at Capitol. Wow. I don't know if they finalized the deal, but that was what was going on. So, like, but he could still come back at you, and he produced the whole 4/4. Like, where he got Jay-Z on down. So, like, you got to be even-handed and know how to play, like, the executive role or the manager role, and be a creative at the same time. Do more than just producing.
Wow, man, that's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. That's a great gem right there, man. Is don't allow yourself to be one-dimensional.
Period.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it seems like a theme that's coming from this interview is from what I'm getting is can't spend all your time in the studio creating beats. That's only part of it, and there's other things that go along with it that set you up for success. So, wow, that's awesome, man. Okay. Well, man, you're I mean, I keep saying this, and I know I'm probably going to keep saying it throughout the interview, but you are definitely doing your thing, man, and you're definitely setting yourself up for greatness, and we want to be great just like you one day, man. So here at Beats Grinding Life, we know that once you follow greatness, you will become great. So I want to know, what do you do on a typical day, man, so that way we can set our day up like yours so that we can one day be like you.
Well, hey, let's say I have to break the me up into two different parts. Okay. I would say the me that when I started, the single guy, just producing and being a musician, you have way more time. But let me just say, even as a married guy, you still gotta make time. Married with kids, The key is this: you gotta work. While you're single and stuff, be really focused. You gotta work. Like, I didn't go to sleep till 4 a.m. most of the time, just working, whether I'm recording my own vocal or making tracks. Like, you stockpile, like, get out here and work, because the next producer is out working you right now. Like, while we're talking, somebody else is cranking out all kind of beats, with an aggressive plan, though. So there's a lot of guys that you may not have to worry about, but like I was up there 4 a.m. and will wake up, turn around at 8 o'clock in the morning and get right back on it. Wow. And non-stop though, where the ideas were flowing, like you'll hear it while you're driving down the street and you got to hurry up and get back to the studio. So even still now, it's about balance for me, business manager stuff. That's my day-to-day, and I got my kids with me in the daytime, and then I never fight, whatever the time of day it is, that time should be given to the responsibility of the moment, Don't try to make beats and change diapers, you know what I mean? Yeah, everybody, there's a lot of guys out there doing that right now. Like, give kids your attention. Like, they need your full attention. And them come sit in your lap and bang on your keyboard and mess around. That stuff is valuable, but like you're not gonna get your complete idea out. I mean,
right.
I don't try to do that, you know. So after they go to bed around 10 o'clock, I'm in here and I go, you know, get a couple ideas out and then wait for the next day to finish it. You know, no stress, just kind of just work, you know, based on what the time will allow. You know, some days I can still go to 4 in the morning, but like, you know, I try to be responsible, noting that I gotta wake up, so I try to cut it off at least 3.
Nice, man. Well, thank you for providing 2 different examples, man. That's awesome for the beat grinders that you know are single and don't have kids, and then for the beat grinders like myself that are married with kids. You know, that's great, and one thing I took away from that is you know, the whole giving your kids all the attention that they need. You know, they definitely deserve that, and your music deserves all the attention that you can give it as well. You know, so you got to break it up. And you know, I learned the hard way that, you know, you can't do both at the same time. Like you said, can't change diapers and bang on the beat machine. So
Exactly.
Nice, man. All right, well, thank you for that, man. Man, this is that was great, man. This is a great interview, man. Cornelio, you're definitely dropping dimes, man. I mean, man, everything that you say should go on a T-shirt, man. I swear.
Hey, I may do it. I may do it.
Yeah, right. Okay, man. Well, this next portion of the interview, man, I like to call In the Studio. I wish that we could all be there making beats with you, man, but it's a lot of us, and I'm sure we can't all fit in your studio. So the next best thing, man, is this portion of the interview where we get to ask you what you do in the studio. So you ready to go?
Sure.
All right, man.
Ready.
What do you do when you first start crafting beats? Do you have a set ritual, or do you light incense, or do you start with chords, or what do you do when you first start making beats?
Yeah, so being a piano player, I kind of just like chord out and play around and, you know, see what I come up with on the vibe, you know. And that's kind of like always been the typical, depending on what I'm producing. But nowadays I've been getting into sampling, like just so to challenge my own creativity. I think sampling is like real genius, and you know, if you do it well, it just really comes across right, and then I can add my flavor to it. So I've been just in the experimental phase on the hip hop.
Nice.
Really trying to like understand the swing of drums, the mix of drums, the samples I could put together. Cool. It's just like when I hear other hip hop, I'm kind of like, man, I wish I can do that, but you know. Once I try it, I do it, but it's like there's just a certain element of dirtiness that I'm looking for. So like I'm still trying to perfect that, you know. But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it, and you will, man. You seem like you're a persistent guy, and I know you're gonna master it. So
for sure. Yeah, no. And then there's a site called Splice. A lot of guys probably know about it. Splice.com is like a little subscription site where all the sounds kind of like that are floating around the internet are just in one spot, and then people like adding, you know, cool samples, guitar, piano, like stuff like that. You could just browse it, you know. They got some dope stuff on there. You know, you can just grab it and throw it in your session like real time.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, Splice has definitely been mentioned on here, and I was actually on Splice.com right before we got on this interview. So
for sure.
Yeah, man. Okay. All right, man. Well, what are you sampling these days? Are you sampling records? Are you sampling yourself? Are you sampling from like YouTube or?
Yeah, no, I'll search right now the 80s. I mean, not 80s, like 90s R&B is the key. Everybody's looking for on the commercial side. So I've been sampling some of that, you know, just really catching the vibe on it.
Nice.
you know, there's a lot of like cool singy parts, which is like, you know, the Bryson Tiller style. They pulling those samples that got like cool vocal, and then you just mute that, take that high end off, and you know, filter it down real dope and smash it, you know. Okay, nice. Stockpile it, but also, you know, still like I do a lot of I get TV and film pitches a lot, so it's just like they are looking for a bunch of crazy different stuff. So that's also on the work side, is kind of, you got to keep yourself open. They're not looking for samples per se, but they want full songs in every type of genre. I can do any music style, so that's my advantage.
That is an advantage, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Well, what's a not so secret weapon that you have in the studio?
The splice. And then I got this Machina, the little small micro.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. I'm learning that one. Then Arturia just came out with this crazy Key Lab 2.
Okay.
That's the keyboard I have. I got an 88 key Arturia, and that one is dope because I just like the weighted feel of it, and it's real for piano players. And but they have this joint. It's like just a more updated version of their Key Lab 1.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to look at it right now to make sure I'm saying the right name. It is the Analog Lab 2. The Analog Lab 1 is pretty dope too, but the 2 has like a really dope interface on there, like where it's a bunch of like the old Moog keyboards and like all these old vintage joints, and you could actually click on the actual keyboard or picture.
Okay.
And each one changes. It's super hard.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Yeah, that does sound hard.
If some cats out there just starting, like, and you got $1,000, like each keyboard doesn't cost this much, but like the package I got, the keyboard came with the software, so it's like $900 for the keyboard, and then it came with a sample library of 5,000 sounds, so it's like you can get started just with that. I mean, Logic has good stuff. You just get that, you get your computer and get Logic that has good stuff in it, basics. You can start and make some beats, but like if you're trying to get heavy and make it really crazy and dig in, I would do, you know, for about $2,000, you get your Mac for $1,000 or so, and get the Key Lab series is just crazy, like the amount that they offer in it. Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye out for that.
Yeah, no, super dope. It's Arturia makes it. A-R-T. How you spell this stuff? Hold on, for all the listeners. A-R-T-U-R-I-A.
Nice.
Arturia.
Yeah, they have some pretty nice stuff, man. I know I have a few of their software sounds, man, and
sure.
I think I have the Mini V and the Jupiter. Yeah, man, both those are pretty tight.
Yeah, those are killer. And then for all the guys, if they got guys out here that play, I know a lot of guys crack your software. You know, that's just no myth. Everybody cracks. But I like to buy my stuff just so I ain't got to deal with crashing and stuff on the computer. So I recently got Keyscape, which is a crazy dope, you know, with Spectrasonics.
Yeah.
So I got Keyscape and Omnisphere. Those two are monsters. Like if you want to jump in on some pop and like, you know, really just expand your crazy sound database, they got crazy stuff in there. So
awesome, man. How much was that Keyspace?
Keyscape.
Keyscape.
I think like $299 or $399, something like that.
That's not bad, because I think the Omnisphere is like $5.
Let me see. What
We're close to it, right?
Yeah, I got it on sale somewhere.
Okay.
It was like $2.99 on sale somewhere for a second.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like, you grab that real quick.
Yeah, right. That's dope, yep. Man. That's awesome. Okay, man. Well, I mean, we're talking about the software that you have in your studio, and that was the next question, man. But what else do you have all in there? What's all in your arsenal?
Monitors is very important to me. Mm-hmm. So typically a lot of guys get the Yamaha the B8s or whatever, which are great. They're great. I'm not gonna take away from those. I love the way they sound with the new. So like, you know, sound is like really like in a technical digital space, you know. Even analog sounds are recreated for like the digital landscape that we're in. So you want to get speakers that actually can handle that. A lot of guys try to go get these vintage speakers, which are cool, but it doesn't translate how it's supposed to. So I got vocal monitors. You know, people could look them up. FOCAL.
Okay.
I got these, and I get my stuff from this spot called Vintage King. It's like NL, and they, you know, a lot of guys, they go to Guitar Center, which is cool. That's just my like run to when I need some stuff. Right. But the focal that I have, I'm trying to get the exact name for the guy so they can check it out. Because if you go to their website, they have some very, very expensive speakers. We're talking about thousands, you know, like they got some stuff that like a lot of the top engineers use. That's how I first found about it, because this guy Eric Madrid, who's a mixer that I work with, he had them in a picture on his studio. And I was like, yo, what are those? He's like, yo, I'm sneeze out. These are the next crazy thing. And so I was like, cool. And it was like, how much? It was like, oh man, these are like $2,500. Like, oh my God.
For the pair or for one each?
I think it's one each. $2,500. You'd be surprised. There's guys out here, they got stuff like the Tannoys, you know. The Tannoys go up to like $6,000 for one pair. Like it's really about like sound, and I just now started appreciating sound more. So that's why I got these. The speakers I have are the Focal Alpha 65. Dope. Those are like great for home studio, you know, really clean. They have, you know, in the back you can change all the polarity settings and all that stuff, and your tonal settings. So it has good settings, and I only paid, I think, maybe $700 total. Okay, nice. So it's affordable. Like it's like what the Yamahas would cost you. But I would tell the guys, you know, don't jump in and just get something everybody else has. Right. You know, find something that is really clean. And so I have a KRK 10-inch, which is awesome with these speakers. Okay. I'm using the Mac desktop iMac 27-inch. Nice. I have the Duet. That's my interface. Nice. And I was gonna get the Universal Audio Twin, but the guy told me, he was like, "Man, honestly, just keep that." You know, my guy at Vintage King. Then I have a Rode mic. I don't know why I like Rode mic, but like that's the first one I had when I first started. Okay. I had it NT1, so I was like, man, I'm gonna just go back to it, because you know you could get expensive with mics, but it's really about how you use it and how you mix. Everything is like subjective to the user, you know. Right. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, I got the keyboard gear, but I keep it simple. I don't do a lot of stuff because I'll take it to the big studio for when it's time to really do, if we're doing a record.
Okay.
At that point, you let the big studio do all the
right.
crazy gear. Like, you know, I'm a producer head, not an engineer head. Like,
right. Okay, so, well, man, I mean, it sounds like you have a great time in that studio whenever you get in there, man. Like I said, I wish we could all be in there with you, man, with all the gear that you got, man.
It's coming together. I'm gonna open up a studio though too. In the future, we're gonna work on a studio that's more like an art gallery. And so, like, where guys can come, you know, anybody can come and just see the art of music happening.
Wow.
And then we'll bring in, like, you know, big producers. Same kind of idea what you're doing with the blog, which is it'll be live, kind of press play. Because, you know, that it really is an art. And, you know, we need a place like that in LA. It'll be real crazy.
Yeah,
that's
Will.
the future.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I mean, I can't wait for that to come about, man. I'm gonna definitely keep my ears and eyes open for that, man.
Well, you know, the beats and grind should be very large by now. You can host. By then, you'll be able to host there. You know,
right?
Bring your show down.
Hey, man, that's a goal to shoot for, man, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. All right, man. Well, this next portion of the interview, man, I like to call In the Mix. This in this portion, we're going to speed things up just a little quicker. So it's going to kind of be like rapid fire, but I don't want to go so quick to where you can't get your ideas out. So if you need to take your time and elaborate, man, please do. So you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. All right, man. Do you prefer using samples or making beats without samples?
Both. I mean, now I like to use samples just to up my creativity.
Okay. What's your opinion on selling and leasing beats online?
I don't like it. It really, that changed the game. Like, you know, that's why producers became devalued. I don't like it, but I don't hate on it.
Right.
So, but being a business guy, that literally kind of was single-handedly why they don't pay producers the amount that we used to get paid, which is fine. Smart guys like me know how to make money everywhere. So, so I love what it does for the guys out there winning. So I wouldn't do it myself though. Okay,
great answer, man. All right, a plug-in that you think every producer should have in their arsenal.
Really, you gotta have all waves, the whole waves bundle, the waves platinum, everything in waves, and tinker with it. Like, producers don't really know. We're not like sonic geniuses. Everybody's not. But I would get the platinum bundle or the waves diamond bundle and just keep it pushing. Those are all quintessential tools that you'll see everybody use. Like, you want to have your session set up to where the templates that you use are like saved with all the plugins that you like, because you never know what until you sit down with the engineer to see like how you're supposed to articulate it. So just have them all ready to go. I don't really have any go-tos. Like, I just, you know, everybody needs to have auto-tune though. That's the sound of today.
Okay. All right. I haven't heard that one on here, auto-tune, but that's I'm glad that you brought that one up, and waves as well. I mean, waves is I know that other people use other mixing plugins, but waves is kind of like a go-to. Almost everyone has waves, so.
Sure.
All right, man. What's a book that you think every producer should read? And it doesn't have to be music related. If that's a book that you want to suggest.
Yeah. I mean, wow. This is a good one. For inspiration. Since in today's game, you gotta kind of be a business person and a producer. I would read books, and I'm trying to go to my little book catalog right now in my Kindle app. Download the Kindle app, and if you don't have time to read, get the audio version.
Nice.
Which is audio. What is it? Audible.
Yeah,
and you
Audible.
Can, books. Yeah.
I think they give away a free book too when you sign up.
Yes. So let me see. Hold on. Okay.
I like how you mentioned that though. I mean, because today's game of music production or being a musician, period, is you have to be an entrepreneur.
I'm going to it right now.
Okay.
Let me see. Well, just to keep it short, I'm gonna throw this one. The Rich Dad Poor Dad book is good for us producers because it teaches us to have some money, to understand what to do with our money, like having a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that one on the audiobook. And so having a studio is an asset, but understanding, like, this is a business where you can make money now and not make money in 2 years. So you got to be smart with your money. Dope. I would put that one at the top of the list. But then I'm trying to find my other marketing books that people should study. But also, let me throw a quick monkey wrench. Also, read Billboard.com as a producer.
Nice.
Like, that's what I do all the time. I read Billboard.com and to understand like all the updated music, music business information. That's what you want to know. Right.
Nice. Okay. I mean, I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad a few times, and that should be mandatory reading right there. By Robert Kiyosaki. But Billboard.com, I don't go to that and I don't read it, but I guarantee you I'm going to start for sure.
Billboard.biz.
Oh, Billboard.biz. Okay.
So go on there, like, it inspires people to, like, when you hear stories about people. So like the latest big news, like Eminem's manager Paul Rosenberg is going to be like the president of Def Jam. Wow. So like reading those articles helps you understand like the game and what's going on, and it's a lot of money out there for executives and entrepreneurial minded. When you can build brands and stuff like that, then you may end up being the president of some company, but cats wouldn't know about it if they didn't read it.
Right. That is awesome, man. Well, thank you for both of those suggestions, man. Beat Grinders, if you guys haven't tapped into either of those resources, please do. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, man. Well, since we're on the topic of resources, and I almost know what you're gonna say for this, man, but I'm gonna ask it anyway because you may throw me a curveball and give me another answer. But what internet resource do you think that producers could most benefit from? And when I say internet resource, I mean an app or a website.
Man, it's a lot of them out there. Of course, Splice. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I was thinking of.
And then, of course, YouTube. I mean, nice. YouTube is the key to your production success. Like, learning everything and anything on how to use your DAW is killer. Like, you can just learn. If you don't know what this knob does or that knob does, go on YouTube. Everything is there. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of these young guys learn anyway. That they are probably already know this stuff.
Right. That's what's up, man. Splice, we talked about it on here before, and it's been mentioned on here before as well. And YouTube is probably becoming the number one answer for this question. I think Sound Oracle calls it YouTube University, and so you can go on there and learn anything, and you can get anything, samples as well. So
exactly.
Dope, man. Okay, thank you, man. Yep. All right, man. Well, this next question, man, I want you to use your imagination a little bit, man. I want you to imagine that they just took down all the faces at Mount Rushmore. No more presidents. We're putting up producers. What 4 producers are you putting up there on Mount Rushmore?
That's crazy. Man. We gotta. It's crazy because it's like you got the commercial producers in the front, and you got like producers who don't care that stay in the back.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I gotta throw Jay Dilla up there for sure.
Nice.
I gotta throw Teddy Riley up there without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put Kanye up there.
Okay.
Which, I mean, we will have to make a hybrid face of Kanye and No ID. And then somebody. Then I gotta throw a legendary in there. I would put like, Stevie Wonder,
Nice.
As people get him as an artist, but like all that crazy stuff he made, this is his production idea. So
Right. Yep.
he doesn't get credited as the crazy producer that he is.
Right. No, you're definitely right, man. I think that he does not get enough credit. He's been mentioned on here many of times, but I don't think that that most music consumers even look at him as a producer. So, but yeah, he's, like you said, legendary, man. I mean, I think all the people you named on here are legendary.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's so much left to do, but they've made an incredible mark. Mm-hmm. Kanye specifically, because people, they kind of get thrown off by all this media stuff, but like this guy, man, he's a consistent beast. Like his music is highly synced and like TV and film heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've used like all the lights. They've used a lot of his stuff in I would say 10 or 12 films in the last 3 or 4 years since Twisted Dark Fantasy. Like it's not stop. Like so, and then his mind, like nobody else thought to do Twisted Dark Fantasy the movie. Like crazy. The acting or whatever wasn't like super dope, but like his concept, he was just being in the world of it.
Right.
And the cinematography was incredible. So you got to credit him for being more of a visionary, not just a beat maker. But even in there, how he was making a beat in the middle of the room, like, it just made it real. It makes it real attractive for you. Like, step up your marketing game.
Nice. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, man. I mean, he's definitely a great artist, man. And I think I want to say after his second album, I forgot what it's called, but I don't think that, and I may be wrong, but I don't think any album after the second one sounds like any other of his other albums. He takes a different turn each album, and that makes me want to it makes me anticipate his music even more, because you never know what you're gonna get from Kanye.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. All right, man. Well, I want to know, man, what's your perfect studio session? I want you to imagine that you woke up from a dream and you had just the dream session. And in that session, you had one artist, one producer, along with yourself, one engineer, and one random person. Who are those 4 people going to be?
Oh, man. This is crazy. I mean, like, all right, so Carell, who does Rihanna's vocals, like he's a master at this stuff.
Well, one more time, what's his name?
Cuck. Let me get it. Let me spell it right for y'all. K-U-K.
K-U-K.
Yeah, Harrell. Harrel.
Dope. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Y'all can just look him up. It's endless on him.
Definitely will.
Yeah. Him. I gotta have Beyonce in there.
Nice. Okay.
She's a monster.
Yes, she is.
Recording. So that's the vocal producer, that's the artist, and you said what else?
You got artist, producer, engineer, random person.
Oh yeah. So the engineer for this session, I mean, that's like Cuck does his own engineering when he's doing the stuff. A lot of the engineers I mess with is like mix engineers. They don't really do recording engineers, so I'm not like familiar with a lot of mix recording engineers. But for mixing, Dave Pensado, he's the king. Nice. And a couple guys I already work with that I love. Eric Madrid, who worked under Manny Marquand. And those guys, when they're mixing, it's just like heaven. Also, my guy Richard Furch, I gotta shout him out because he's like one of the coolest cats out here mixing R&B stuff. He's crazy.
Okay.
But for this session, if I got Cut Correll and I got Beyonce, I probably would use Eric Madrid as my mix engineer, and then my producer for this session, I'll probably have No ID.
Nice. Okay.
That's like for sure going to be a hit record.
Right. No. Yeah. It will be a hit record. I have no doubt.
Let me throw in there James Fauntleroy. Everybody may not know him, but y'all better look him up. He got hits upon hits, and we all grew up in the church scene together. I'm very proud of what he's doing.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, James Fauntleroy, someone that I wasn't familiar with before. Cadence came on here and mentioned him. But I'm still not all that familiar with his music, so I definitely need to go and check him out. Cut Harrell, I'm not familiar with him. I need to go check him out as well. But just from what you said, he does Rihanna's vocals, so I can only imagine the type of work that he puts in.
Justin Bieber, everybody though. He crazy with it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just radio's standard. I mean, just
you get, once you get a Rihanna and you do that, you make her sound like how she sounds. You get everybody calling.
Right. Yeah. That's so true, man. So you said Eric Madrid?
Yeah, Eric Madrid, he's mixing a lot of the hit records right now on the radio. Okay,
nice. And then No ID, we know, legendary producer from Chicago, Kanye's mentor, dope sampler, producer, and executive as well. So
exactly.
And then last but not least, Beyonce.
Yeah, we all know this. I mean, who doesn't want to work with Beyonce?
Yeah, right. Like you said, man, smash hit, whatever, man. EP, LP. I would love to hear that, man. Hopefully one day that could happen. So.
Yeah, man. It can if we work hard enough.
Yep, for sure, man. For sure. Okay. Fair. All right, man. Well, I want to know, what's your favorite song that you've ever produced?
Love Inside on BJ Chicago Kid.
Nice.
It's a real musical episode. It's a real musical episode. Like, that was the most fun I had recording, and we knew that it was gonna be a crazy song just in there. We were creating it. I had live horns, guitar players, bass players, all in there just vibing. It was crazy.
Awesome, man. Okay, man. What's an album besides one that you've worked on that you recommend every producer listen to, and why?
Shoot. Man, it's too many. Like, just, man, you gotta have a very diverse, very diverse approach to this stuff. So I would tell everybody, you know, you gotta start from Quincy Jones. You gotta start from like all the Thriller stuff, like start there, because that was like production at its best, like as far as like how they approached music. You gotta understand, like, these are live musicians, like,
right,
coming in creating this stuff. So like understanding like how music progressed is very important. So all of the Thriller album, you gotta also listen to country music. You know, I listen to like Rascal Flatts and Lady Antebellum. You gotta understand it, like understand genre, so that like you don't be boxed out of any type of opportunity. That's the first thing. Twisted Dark Fantasy was crazy. Like, I would just tell people to watch that 32 minutes of music, because it's like he giving you the project, but then he giving you like what he saw in his mind. And that's as a producer, I see that exactly. Like, if I'm creating music, I actually see the visual in my head while it's happening. It's crazy, but I don't have like 4 million to do the project.
Right.
What I see.
That's powerful.
Yeah, no, you gotta do that. You gotta you know, nowadays just get on Spotify and dig through. You know, like most of the things I would suggest is like really the older albums, to kind of like hone in on what skill level that you can really reach, and like really perfected beats and stuff like that. So really dive into the Stevie stuff. Like, that stuff is crazy music. And then it's about like pop music is cool. Like, if people are trying to go in that lane, go in there and study Dr. Luke. You would, you know, study who's like the largest one of the largest pop producers is Max Martin. You know, go study these guys, because it's like they're never not working. You know, but they're gonna get a call, like, you know, when you say, oh, producer's not making a lot of money, but like those guys they're making millions. Like, right. What do you need to do? Like, study up, you know. And listen to not just what you're into. Like, when we talk about beats and stuff, it's really just kind of like hip hop and stuff. But like, how can you get to a certain level? Like, you know, research Mike Will and Hit Boy and the type of deals that they got and why they got the deal. You know, because they're able to be flexible. They're able to work with musicians. That's going to be a very important part of some of you guys' careers out there, is knowing how to work with musicians. Wow. A real producer, and I'm about to give you the difference. This is a key gem, guys, is a producer is somebody that puts together the whole song from beginning to end, no matter what is needed. So if you need a singer, you better have singers on dial. You need a drummer, you better have a drummer on dial. It's not just you in there making the beat, because then you made the beat. Somebody else produced the song. It would really technical. So they take your beat and they get all this stuff. They hire a guitar player. They produced it. You didn't. Right. So people get kind of like, you know, offended or whatever. But you know the business. Get out here, study the game. If you really want to be a monster, you got to know how to be aggressive and know what is needed on your track. If Beyonce liked the beat and she like, oh man, it just need to come up a little bit, I don't know what it is. So you got to go in and you have to know what it is. Don't let her tell you, because then she's the co-producer at that point. So, which is not a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is what you gotta study this game, and not just YouTube beat makers. Like those are still amateurs. No matter if you got 50,000 followers on there, it means nothing. Nice. Everybody, you gotta be at the front door of the opportunity, or else you're not gonna get called to do an interview. So,
wow, man.
That's when I get more real about this stuff.
You know what, man? I mean, I feel like with that answer right there, I feel like you just gave us a crate of records and just a handful of books, man. I mean, you gave us a lot to digest right there, man. And I thank you for that. That was a fully loaded answer. I know I wrote everything down as you were talking. Beat grinders, I hope you guys are doing the same, not just for this answer, but this whole interview, because Cornelio was definitely dropping gems on us, man, that we can put in our pockets and hold forever and elevate our game, man. So thank you for that, man. I appreciate that, man. Wow.
Sir, no problem.
I mean, you talked about Thriller, which I'm going to go back and listen. I haven't heard Thriller in a long time. One of my favorite albums. I love Michael Jackson. Came up on him. But I'm definitely going to go back and re-listen to that album again, just from that perspective. Because sometimes, I mean, the way that everything is digital now, I mean, like you said, you got to remember all that was live instrumentation, so go back.
It was a hit, though. It was like pop, you know what I mean? And that's kind of where you got to understand, like, melody, and you can have musicality and still is really a science. Melody and musicality can go hand in hand, like Stevie Wonder. It still like blows my mind this day. But yeah, like you just study it until you got it for your own brand. Like each person will be able to contribute their own greatness to the business, but when somebody studied and when somebody didn't.
Yep. Nice, man.
Yeah, man.
And you also said go and listen to music that you don't like. I thought that was interesting. I heard a Berkeley professor say he challenges students to listen to music that they don't like once a week and try to find something that you do like in that music. Exactly. And so it affirms it for me. He's not the only one saying it. You're saying it as well. And so definitely need to. I guess I gotta get some heavy metal and start listening to that.
Whatever works.
Right. And also country music. I know my wife, she listens to a little bit of country music. She said that she believes that there's a lot of well-written songs in country. I know, like Dolly Parton, a lot of her songs have been redone by pop artists, and I mean, Whitney Houston redid one of her songs, and somebody else a big artist did one of her songs. I can't remember.
Dolly Parton.
What's that?
Dolly, you said?
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, she's been covered by multitudes of artists.
Right.
But definitely the biggest one, I will always love you. That's a big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned it before, that country musicians are writing the best songs at this moment. So.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like stories. You know what I'm saying? Like the hip hop cool is like for the culture we cool. Like we out here with we out here with the Migos and we vibing. So I get that's great. But like listen to country songs if you want to hear a real story, a well written story and with a hit hook, that really makes sense. That's for us guys. That's songwriters as well as producers.
So a good place to start out is Rascal Flatts, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, you could go if you want to catch a vibe. Rascal got some great songs on their Greatest Hits project.
Okay.
They're killer. Lady Antebellum, they're really good. That's what I've been listening to them like every day. Like,
wow.
The vibe is just so right, They got a lot of cool ones out there. Hunter Hayes, like, you know, I just like the little weird singing. And what's this group? Florida Georgia Line is dope too.
Wow.
They're pretty dope.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all those suggestions, man. I'm gonna definitely check out all of those. And then I never heard of Dr. Luke and Max Martin, but I'm gonna definitely do my research and find out a little more about them. So.
Well, you heard of Taylor Swift and Britney Spears and
oh yeah.
yeah, like, you definitely heard.
I heard their music, right?
Yeah, like
okay.
They're massive, man, and that's what I mean. Like, we as producers, we gotta be very well versed with the who's who, because like you know, Dr. Luke or whoever, if they came to Portland and you guys at the coffee shop, you know, you missed the opportunity because you didn't know who they were. So
that's so true. Oh my God, that is so true.
Yep.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I know all the beat grinders appreciate it as well, man. So, I mean, we could end the interview right now and we would get tons of value, but I just got a couple more questions for you, man. This is another one that's gonna make you get those imaginative juices flowing a little more, man. I want to know, if you woke up tomorrow and you lost everything that you had except for your knowledge and $1,000, what would you do in the next week to restart your career? And I know you already told us some things that we can do for just $2,000 to get things going, but what can we do if we cut that budget in half?
Let me see. Quick $1,000. Yeah, I'll just have to grab another computer and just keep it cracking.
Nice. Cracking as in crack software?
Well, see, now the benefit is this: if I lost everything, I still wouldn't lose my licenses that I bought.
Right. So, exactly. Yep.
So I just re-download them back to the new computer.
Right.
Yeah. You could $1,000. You can restart. That's good.
Okay.
You know,
nice.
I'd get a used Mac 500 and then get a mic and, you know, squeeze it all together like that.
Nice. And if you got the Mac, I mean, you got
everything.
Yeah, you got everything. You got a GarageBand, which is like a cheaper version of Logic Pro. So
exactly. Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Well, that's a great answer. This next one, man, I want to know, what does legacy mean to you? And when it's time to hang it up, which I'm sure you probably won't ever hang up music as long as you're living, but when it's all dead and done, man, or when it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't even really began yet, like as it relates to the music business as a whole. I want to leave a stamp there. So like, you know, redefining the culture for the future, whether it be, whether it's an app or whether it's a, you know, a company that is still here that goes on and does legendary things. Awesome. Maybe it's a method of business practice that, you know, I want to create something that can have a stamp that has my name on it.
Nice.
Definitely, like I told you earlier, I want to have this music museum type thing. That has my name on it, and educational institution that has my name on it. Nice. So just things that are music related for sure, and that can help change and groom people. You know, like that's the key. Grooming people to be a success. You know, having a company that I can leave as a legacy there, that does what I'm passionate about when I'm long going. You know.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I can't wait to see what the type of things that you're gonna build in your life, man. Like you said, it hasn't even started yet, but you've had some great accomplishments, man, and I can tell that they're just launching pads for bigger and better things, man. So I can't wait to see everything that you do, man. So
this is gonna be great.
Yes,
you know?
I have no doubt about that, man. I have no doubt about that. Okay, man. Well, I want to know, what's the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received in your career? And what advice would you have for all the listeners listening today?
Man, I think the advice, the one that rings in my head, I don't know if it's the best one, but a friend told me, you stay in the house, you don't eat. That was very simple and to the point.
Yes, it is.
that always, I think that one thing really kind of fuels me to get up and go and try to make something happen. That's cool, but like I think my greatest advice I would give most anybody, my aspiring artists and producers is go to school. Get your education, learn how to play instrument for real, add value to yourself to where you can't be devalued by somebody else, because you're educated, you don't look at your talent as the only thing you have. You look at being talented as an advantage, but you're educated, so you know how to make moves too. So we get out here and really kind of step up our worth, just like somebody who has an MBA versus an AA. Look at the music business as not just I need to be more talented, I need to have more music. Nah, get the education, because you could be the next executive taking over at Def Jam or Capitol too. Nice. After you have your reign as a producer. Dope. So get that education.
Nice, man. Nice. Great advice, man. That is awesome. And I ask, and I should have asked you this earlier, but I didn't. But I ask every producer that comes on here that's gone to a school like SAE or Full Sail, if it's worth it. And because I always hear, mixed reviews. No, it's not worth it. Yes, it is. But everyone that's attended a school like that, they say it is well worth the money, And so you're just affirming that, and look at the things that you've done because you've gone to school. Well,
let me say this too for you younger guys out there. It may not necessarily be the right idea to jump right into it unless you're doing like a mix engineer degree or some music production. But like I said, you can learn music production outside of going to school. Go get the business degree. The expectation is what people have to manage. They think that, you're going to go jump out here and, get a job or whatever from degree. Maybe that's not the case. If they're selling that at the schools, then, shame on the schools. But I think it's expectation. What do you expect to achieve by gaining a certain amount of knowledge? Because it's in your mind.
Right.
So what are you going to do with it? Are you going to be an entrepreneur? Are you going to learn how to market yourself? I look at music business as an entrepreneurial road, and that is pretty much how most of the people get to the top. They were an entrepreneur hustling and getting it in. So you gotta just understand, don't go in there with the expectation whatever they're selling to you. If they're saying, we're gonna get you a job, you gotta kind of be like, you gotta take that with a grain of salt, Right. Get the education and be powerful, but if you're young, just kind of grind out, then go later. That's what I did. I finished up later, when I was in my 30s.
Nice.
So
okay.
So it's okay to go back,
Right. Wow. Well, I've never really considered it, but just looking at the path you've taken and seeing, the benefits of someone that went later, because I'm kind of an older guy. I'm not gonna give away my age all the way, but I'm not a young buck anymore. But you went back, and it's almost like you recreated yourself almost. You went from a musician to now. You're a mogul now. So
period. I mean, that was my goal. Like, I need to add value.
Nice.
That's all I wanted to do, was add value to my peers and what I could do for others, and the security of my family's future. You know what I mean?
Dope. Yes, I do know what you mean, man. Well,
yes.
Man, well, thank you for that, man. You've definitely added a lot of value on this show, man. I took tons of notes. This paper is full, man.
Yes,
I'm going to go back and listen to this, man, and take more notes. And I got a lot of homework to do, man. Got a lot of listening of music and got a lot of research to do, man. So I feel like I was in school tonight, man. So thank you for that, man.
Yeah, there'll be a lot more coming up. I'll be more vocal in the next 2 years, man. I'm gonna start putting out a lot of content and stuff to help people just through my Instagram and stuff like that.
Please do, man. Please do. Have you ever considered a title of professor?
Hey, I mean, maybe so. We might get in there like that.
Right. Okay, man. All right,
Yes, sir.
man. Well, I want to know if you have any more words for the listeners, if you want to let them know anything, what they should be looking out for, or how to contact you if you want to be contacted, man. Please let everyone know.
Yeah, they can hit me up on Instagram. That's the new that's the new way to get in touch.
Yep.
Cornelio_Austin. Simple.
Dope. All right. Well, thank you once again, man, for all the value and knowledge that you've shared over this last hour and a half, man. I really appreciate it. Beat Grinders, I hope you guys appreciate it as well. On this show, we consider it a mentorship, and tonight you have definitely been mentored by Cornelio Austin. So you guys consider yourselves lucky, and Cornelio, thank you once again, man. Appreciate it.
All right, you too. This was fun. Thanks.
Yeah, no doubt. And Beat Grinders, you guys know the deal. You guys keep grinding throughout the week, and we'll talk to you next week. All right, peace.
Peace.
Here at Beats Grindin' Life, we want to thank you for listening to another episode. We want to know, what were your biggest takeaways from this interview? Just go to beatsgrindinlife.com and leave a comment on this episode's show notes page. Also, while you are there, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just click the little button that says subscribe. If you could, please leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews are the best way to show your appreciation because it helps more people find out about the podcast. So until next week's episode, keep grinding.